Shit's dumb.
Shit's so dumb, man. You know what's not dumb?
What?
Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen. I love that we actually made Bernard like have to comment on it. Like we did our job. We succeeded by making people be like, guys, stop it with the Dairy Queen jokes. Like that's the goal of comedy.
My entire life is like keep doing a bit until Bernard is annoyed enough to not to say something about it, and then I consider my job done.
Yeah, we did it. Reddit. Welcome to RPG Book Club Movie Nights, the podcast where we let's admit it, we pulled this one out of our ass tonight, guys.
Maybe a little bit, but whatever. I had fun.
We watch a movie that actually I take it back. This watching it today, this is the most Chrono Cross movie we could have watched. Like every single bit.
I think it has a number of parallels.
It is. It was like a jokey parallel, but then watching it today, literally the first 30 seconds of dialogue could be put at the beginning of Chrono Cross and it wouldn't change anything.
Good, yeah.
The only difference is that it would spoil the rest of Chrono Cross, but yeah.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Chrono Cross, the Super Mario Brothers movie. It came out many, many years before that.
Yeah, we're watching the Super Mario Brothers movie tonight, and I am Sam Allman.
I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I am Maddy Grace Webbin.
And yeah, it's surprisingly about Chrono Cross. Like it was originally just a joke, because they're like alternate dimension with dinosaurs, but now it's like, no, there's like evolution and de-evolution and big weird diagrams of like dinosaurs evolving
and
into
literally
humans.
A girl with a magical pendant that lets her cross dimensions.
Yep.
It's got
surprising. So normally we put in video game music before we start. Should I put in Walk the Dinosaur and let's talk about this fucking movie?
Yeah, you should.
Sure.
And then for the outro, we can play that whatever song that was written for this movie that sounded like it should be the ending credits of a JRPG. So
that sounds dope.
Well, we got music for tonight, guys. So yeah,
Excellent.
Let's talk about the.
So,
Eli, what the fuck happens in this goddamn movie?
first, we'll get to the plot. There's stuff that happens before the movie that I have to talk about.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we do.
I completely forgot about this.
I did some research, mainly on Wikipedia, I admit it. But Wikipedia, has references and things. It's still a valid tool for research. And also, this isn't like, I'm not getting graded on this shit. Nobody fucking cares.
No, Wikipedia is great.
So, this movie was a trip to make, apparently. So, first off, the screenwriters were given a total free creative license by Nintendo. So they decided to go with a weird and dark sort of tone. They apparently wanted something similar to, and these are the examples that Wikipedia gave, Ghostbusters and The Wizard of Oz. And we can see elements of both of those.
Yeah, you can kind of see that
in the movie. The Wizard of Oz especially, like, there's a couple of moments where I'm like, oh yeah, I see where that's definitely a Wizard of Oz reference. It also said the setting was primarily inspired by Super Mario World, which for you youngsters out there was a launch title for the SNES. It came out in 1990. Also happens to be my favorite Mario game.
This movie was 93 or 94?
93.
93.
The movie was 93. Super Mario World had come out in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
So Mario was like super fucking popular at this point.
It's based on Super Mario World. You know, the one where Mario's going to visit his good friend Yoshi on Yoshi Island, and then he has to go and save the princess while he's there. It has it's bonkers to me that that's the one they pick because the actual plot is Super Mario Land for the Game Boy Advance. It's like straight up.
I've never played a Super Mario Land game.
Well, I mean, kind of. But one thing important to realize is that this was early enough in the franchise that like it didn't have like lore yet, right? Like
True.
It wasn't anything. So like nowadays, if you made a Mario movie, it's not just that they would do a better job from a business standpoint of making sure that it, you know, was like factory produced to be a popular movie, but also like they would have more to draw from. Like, I mean, they even have like now they have like a style. They have like a style guide for like here's how you draw Mario, right? Mm-hmm. But back then, Mario was just a couple of games, and all the games were pretty different. So if you don't have any lore or really even aesthetic coherency, then nothing is going to not fit. So you just got to make shit up.
Well, and there was there was even like Super Mario USA, which was Super Mario 2 over here, which was a totally fucking different game that they cannibalized and turned into Mario.
Yep. And actually, I will say one important thing I just realized just now is that if this movie actually makes more sense when you consider that this movie clearly considers the Mario series to not start with Super Mario Brothers, but to start with Donkey Kong and Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Because when you think about that, because in those two games, Mario is a plumber or carpenter in New York City. So when you think about that, you're like, oh, that's starting to make a little more sense.
Yeah, yeah. As a kid in the 90s, Mario was just a guy in overalls who went through pipes, and they said he was a plumber, but he did no actual plumbing.
Yeah, he wasn't fantasy clown man who lives in a fantasy world.
Yeah. So they also wanted to draw elements from fairy tales and contemporary American culture. One very interesting note, though, is that the production was actually really innovative and introduced the use of Autodesk Flame, among other techniques that are, to quote Wikipedia, considered pivotal in the transition from practical to digital, physical or visual effects.
I noticed the CG snake tongue this time around, and I was like, wow, that's a lot for 1993.
This whole movie's effects are great. The practical effects are fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For early 90s digital effects, they're pretty fucking solid, too. So now we get into kind of the history of making this movie. The producer was Roland Jaffe, something like that. He met with the Nintendo of America president and Minoru Arakawa. Minoru Arakawa is the son-in-law of then Nintendo president Hiroshi Yamauchi. And he pitched the movie to them, and then he flew out to Kyoto to discuss it with Hiroshi Yamauchi, and was given a $2 million contract and temporary control over the character of Mario. This would lead to some interesting results. Jaffe apparently told Yamauchi that by handing him the rights instead of a bigger production company, because and I can't remember the name of the production company, I'm sorry, they were kind of small and they weren't well known. And Hiroshi Yamauchi was asking, like, why should we give it to you? He was saying that Nintendo would have more creative control, but apparently Yamauchi was willing to just let Jaffe go buck fucking wild with it because Mario was just so ding-dang popular. They kind of thought that the Mario branding would be able to stand on its own 2 feet and it wouldn't be an issue. So the next people brought in were Jim Genuine and Tom S. Parker. They apparently decided to try subverting. These are the writers, first off,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I skipped a part. My bad. So,
Okay.
let me go back. First screenplay was written by Barry Manilow, who wrote fucking Rain Man. And
Okay.
the script was...
obviously the right choice.
Yeah. The script was apparently so similar to the script for Rain Man that the original title was Drain Man. Which I think is fantastic.
Hilarious.
Yeah. And it was considered more of a drama piece, so they decided at that point to bring in new writers. Now, the next people that were brought in were Jim Genuine and Thomas Parker. They apparently decided to try subverting and satirizing fairy tale cliches and focus on the relationship between Mario and Luigi, comparing it later to the sort of things that Shrek did with fairy tales.
Okay. I could see that working.
Yeah. So
unfortunately.
yeah. Wait, there's more. You'll hear that a lot. So they brought in Greg Beeman to direct it first when they moved into pre-production, but then decided to can him after his movie Mom and Dad Save the World flopped. Womp womp. I wrote that in my notes. I don't know why. They then made an offer to Harold Ramis. Yes, the Harold Ramis from Ghostbusters, but he declined, which he later expressed that he was glad about, and the Associated Press said was his smartest career move. Damn. So at this point, they were just like throwing shit at a wall to see what would stick, until Jaffe apparently started thinking of Max Headroom, and at which point they hired Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel to direct.
Again, what better for the children's film based on Super Mario Brothers than the Max Headroom guy?
Fucking Max Headroom, yeah. This was when they decided on the kind of dark and gritty approach, because they wanted something to kind of cash in on the popularity of 1989's Batman and 1999's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Those were both kind of dark, gritty movies, but that were also ostensibly family-friendly.
Mm-hmm.
The screenwriter for this one was Parker Bennett, and he is quoted as saying, "Our take on it was that Nintendo interpreted the events from our story and came up with a video game. We basically worked backwards."
I love that.
Yeah. So
that's actually like giving all of these people the benefit of the doubt, because none of these things will end up being the script. Spoilers: the script was written the day of every day, and
pretty much.
But like thinking of all of these pitches, like that's kind of cool, because you think like on the PS2 you have like, for instance, the Coraline video game that me and Scarlett just beat. The Coraline is only so long, so you only have so much you can do. So like, why not make the Mouse Circus a platformer you have to do? Like, why not? You do that all the time. Like the Toy Story video game on the Super NES is like famously a weird, crazy platformer that has no relation at all to the movie. So it's like, imagine like thinking that backwards would kind of actually be really cool. It's like, oh, we could make the like Yoshi part of it just like a thing that they expounded on and ran with it. And so like that's kind of a cool thought process. But wait.
Yeah.
And also that would have made Super Mario Brothers, the original game circa 1985, the first video game tie-in movie retroactively. Actually, no, it wouldn't be E.T. It's obviously.
Oh, yeah, definitely E.T.
Which that actually is, but yeah.
Oh, right. So, Bennett and co-screenwriter Terry Runte, and I wrote in my notes, how many fucking screenwriters are we up to now? We're told to balance... Yeah, too many is the answer. It's always the answer, and it's going to continue being the answer because... But wait, there's more. We're told to balance the comedy with the darker tone, but then they got canned for being too funny. So then, new screenwriters Dick Clement and Ian LaFrenne were brought in to deliver a more adult and feminist tone. LOL at hiring two dudes for that. GG, guys. But this gave us expanded roles for Princess Daisy and Lena and introduced the character of Big Bertha. It was at this point that they convinced Bob Hoskins to be Mario, but then, Jaffe and co-producer Jake Everts felt like the script had veered off from the original intended young adult family audience too far, as well as becoming too effect-heavy for the budget. So they hired 2 more screenwriters behind the directors' backs.
Oh my god.
These screenwriters were Ed Solomon and Ryan Rowe, and they were told to make a more family-friendly script with fewer effects requirements. This was also partially motivated by Disney purchasing the film distribution rights, apparently.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Maybe that's why it's not on anything right now, is just Disney saving it for Plus.
Or never putting it on
deciding
Plus.
that it doesn't exist because Disney decides to control history.
Yeah. Pretty much. So at this point, the directors are actually considering walking off, which, I mean, who could fucking blame them? But they talked it over and realized that no one else was going to be able to understand the material as well as they did, and thought that maybe they could reclaim their vision. Maybe. They're dreamers. So at this point, screenwriter Rowe leaves to work on another project, and Solomon stays to do some additional rewrites. Also at this point, Bennett and Runte, who were screenwriters a little while back, they were the ones who were canned like half a dozen screenwriters ago, came back without being invited and were immediately rehired. And they stayed for the rest of the production.
I respect the hustle. That's some good hustle. Imagine them being like, man, it really sucks we got fired. Hey, I heard they're doing some trouble. Hey, what if we just showed up and we're like, hey,
what if we just
we're here?
Went there? Yeah,
it's like the episode. There's actually an episode of Seinfeld. Did either of y'all familiar with Seinfeld?
I am.
Vaguely.
I haven't seen a ton of it, but I've seen a few episodes.
Eli, have you seen the episode of Seinfeld where George, in a huff at his job, quits, and then he immediately regrets it, right? Because he literally said like, "I quit," and
yeah.
And then like he realizes he's been a big idiot, and he's like, "Well, what do I do?" And what he decides to do is he just shows up the next day and acts like nothing happened. I don't remember where it goes.
I do think I remember that one.
I don't remember where it goes from there, but like they're just like, "You quit," and he's like, "No, I didn't." Like, we hired you 2 screenwriters. No, I don't remember that.
No, you didn't.
That's not from my point of view. I don't. I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one.
Yeah. So then, like, they stayed for the rest of production, and then pretty much, like, from there, the movie got made. So now we can move on to the cast. First off, this is really, like, funny to me. Dennis Hoffman originally wanted to be Mario. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one who's, like, super amused by that.
That is an alternate reality I want to go to. Yeah. Not that it would be better than what we have, because Bob Hoskins is incredible.
He is the fucking best. And he hated every moment of it. And I'll get to that. But Minoru Arakawa didn't think that Dennis Hoffman fit the role. I can't understand why.
He could have been Luigi. They could have had Luigi. Yeah. Like, hey, what if Luigi had depression? And was like sexier. I mean, sexier from conventional standpoint. Yeah, no one sexier than John Leguizamo.
Luigi's personality these days, which is derived from the Super Mario Brothers cartoon, by the way, is that he is a coward.
Yeah.
And he's not as much of a go-getter as Mario is. I think Dennis Hoffman could pull that off.
Yeah.
So Minoru Arakawa didn't want him to be Mario. The next one that they offered the role to was Danny DeVito. They also offered him. Yeah, I know. They also
1993's Danny DeVito would be really good in the role.
Yeah, I think he would.
To be fair. He aged where his body is now even weirder shaped than it was just being Danny DeVito shaped. Like seeing him in like It's Always Sunny, I'm like, you have grown man arms on a child body. What happened? Like, this is weird.
Yeah.
But
what happened to you?
in around Matilda years, it would be fine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
See it working.
So they also offered him the role of director, but he declined. They approached Arnold Schwarzenegger and Michael Keaton to play Koopa, and they both turned it down. And Tom Hanks was considered for Luigi, but due to box office failures, they decided against it.
Wait, so they didn't get Tom Hanks because he wasn't big enough.
Yeah, like he'd had some sort of
Luigi.
Yeah, I don't remember. Like, he did so many fucking movies back then, but I can't think of which ones that he did.
Wait.
Splash. I don't know. Did Splash do well? Maybe it flopped because it flopped or something.
So I just going back to when you said that the Super Mario Brothers Super Show is why Luigi is a coward.
Yes.
Is this movie the reason why Daisy, noted love interest of Mario in Super Mario Land, is now paired up with Luigi in all of the like dating times where they mention dating from now on? Like, I
didn't find anything concrete about that, but that's been my hypothesis, is that because of Daisy being in the Super Mario Brothers movie, that's why they put Daisy, the character from the video games, with Luigi.
I feel like it's probably simpler than that. I think it's just there's two girl characters, so they both have to be the girlfriends of the two guy characters.
Yeah, because we can't have anyone thinking they're gay, which, spoiler alert, Luigi ends up shirtless with a rainbow tool belt on later, and it's great.
Yes.
It's like, I feel like it was a childhood gay fantasy for me before I knew that I was a boy.
Yeah, here's the thing, which is what's the word? Showing Eli, you're showing the film's hand just a little bit, but in case the readers are curious, listeners, buckle up, because it turns out this movie is real horny.
Yeah, it is.
It's bonkers horny.
It's really fucking horny.
Yeah.
And
great.
like not in like an annoying cishet way either. Like it's like it's kind of it's a horny movie.
Yeah. So they finally got Bob Hoskins as Mario. He didn't want to do it. He didn't like the script, and he didn't want to keep doing children's movies after Roger Rabbit and Hook, saying that he didn't want to become like Dick Van Dyke. Jaffe basically just kept saying, please, over and over and over, and sending him new scripts until Hoskins just caved to pressure. Apparently his hiring was, quote, a no-brainer, unabashed, shameless physical typecasting.
Makes sense, but also, oh my god, he's so fucking good. He's perfect. I can't imagine anyone else in the room.
Yeah. He's the best Mario. Like, no question at all.
No, he's okay. He's the best possible choice for this movie.
That Mario.
Which is not Mario as we think of him. It's Mario if he were really Catholic and really Italian.
Hey guys, imagine Bob Hoskins opening his mouth and Charles Martinet's voice comes out.
Dude, honestly, one of my number one takeaways from this movie is that I'm so sad that there wasn't a Super Mario Bros. The movie, the video game, because that would have been phenomenal.
Oh my god, I took a drink at the wrong time. I almost spit out cider onto my keyboard, so thank you.
We should do that. You know how like people do fan games like way too late all the time on Itch.io anyways. We should make a shitty Unity platformer based on Super Mario Brothers the movie.
Yes, please.
That's a great idea.
I want to do that. Yeah. And that could be like the official RPG book club video game. I love this idea. We need to make this happen. I'm going to start drawing up Bob Hoskins Mario sprites.
Do it.
So
No. It would all be pre-rendered sprites taken from the movie.
Oh, yes, it would.
Obviously, come on. Sorry, Eli.
No, you're right. How could I have thought that I might
Not to
contribute to
disparage your
this with my
spriting
art
abilities.
skills? No, I understand. I mean, like, you got to do what you got to do.
So it could go one or two ways for me. It could be crappy, like pulled from the movie pre-rendered sprites for a platformer, like the Stargate video game, or it could be like GoldenEye, where they can't do FMVs, so they just tried to make the N64 look like those scenes from GoldenEye, and they fail really bad. I don't know which way I want to go with this. We'll have a pitch meeting on Monday and you drop some plans. We'll board a few scenes and we'll see what happens from there.
So next we've got John Leguizamo as Luigi. I love him.
He is one of my favorite actors. I adore John Leguizamo.
I'm pretty sure that this movie kickstarted my childhood crush on Luigi. Which, looking back on that, is very weird. But, because, yeah, I mean, just look at Luigi sometime.
Shout-outs to Michelle on Twitter. She has this bit where she keeps changing her Wikipedia entry and Luigi's Wikipedia entry to say that they're married.
That's really funny. That's really funny. Yeah, no, Leguizamo, though, he's so good. He was also in, he's been in a shit ton of movies. But the ones that come to mind immediately for me are, go on.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, well, the two that I always think of are, he was in Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, which I don't like, but I do like him in it. And then he also, as an older, not adorable tiny baby, but as an older, extremely sexy man, is John Wick's car mechanic in the John Wick film franchise.
I've never seen a John Wick movie.
Okay, well, first of all, John Wick movies are amazing. And second of all, in the first two movies, he gets pretty, not like huge screen time, but like, it's more than just a bit role. Like, it's like he'll get multiple scenes where John Wick is like, you know how James Bond has like Q, and Q has to give him his cool gadgets and stuff. Well, when John Wick's car gets fucked up, he has to take it to John Leguizamo so he can fix his goddamn car.
That's awesome.
I don't think he was in the third movie, which is a shame because there just wasn't any plot reason for him to be. But boy, they better bring him back because again, it's just a strictly character actor role, like, you know, but it's so good.
He was also the sloth in Ice Age.
Yes,
and he's the drag baby in Tu Wong Fu.
I've not seen that.
Okay, yeah. I need to watch that movie sometime. My mom has a friend who was in Tu Wong Fu.
Oh, nice. For being a film starring about a bunch of straight manly dudes that do drag, and that therein lies a lot of the comedy of it. It's surprisingly like a real love letter to drag culture. It just kind of has this like thin veneer of like, oh hey, like look at this outsiderness, but that just gets people to buy the ticket, and then it's just like a really good ass gay ass movie, and I love it. It's surprisingly good. Shout
outs to Phil Stair, aka Philomena, my favorite old drag queen, who helped me pay for my top surgery. I love you.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my mom's friend. They're pretty tight. Apparently John Leguizamo was working as a stand-up comedian at the time. The producers had seen him in Second City, and they just loved him. We have Dennis Hopper as President Koopa. Apparently there aren't any interesting stories about why he was hired, at least not that I could find.
Someone watched Blue Velvet and they were like, what if he was even more of a terrifying sex pest? And it was the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, I can't imagine Bowser from the video games acting the way that Koopa does.
Yeah,
in this movie.
at all. Because in the old Mario games, he's not even a character with like, he's not even a character. He's like a dragon, right? Like he's the fantasy dragon. There's not even any indication, like in Super Mario Bros. 1, there's not even any indication that he's like sentient, right?
He kind of
Huh?
started getting his personality in Super Mario World because like he's got that clown car that he rides around in. And it's like, what
but
the
even
fuck
then,
is
it's
that
not
about?
like a whole and then later, of course, in the later Mario games nowadays, he's turned into like just like Mario, a vaudeville clown, right? He's a fun goof. So he's either a fun bumbling, Ice King-esque goof, or he's just a literal like the dragon you have to slay at the end of the fantasy story. But here they're like, what if he was Dennis Hopper's character from Blue Velvet, like evil, slimy, like rapist, combined with like
a dinosaur.
He's kind of Trumpy in a way, except
he was like
way more
surprisingly
charisma.
Trumpy.
Except he's got way more charisma than Donald Trump.
That is true.
It's like, what if Trump was hot?
So like. This is completely unrelated, but since we're talking about Koopa, and this is not a plot point of the movie, they deposed a king and established a president, and the president was the bad guy. Is this a pro-monarchy movie?
Yeah, this movie is very pro-monarchy.
It's also pro-union. There's a line later on that's
which
very
is dope.
pro-union. Yeah.
I will say, I do think that it is strongly implied that he's not really the quote president. That it's a sham,
he's
right?
king, but he calls himself president.
I actually thought I remembered there being a line where it was like they were saying like vote for Koopa, but like if you go to vote, like the only option is Koopa or something. But maybe I'm conflating that with a different movie that makes that joke.
Well, there were vote for Koopa billboards all over the place, and I just kind of got the impression that like either it's only Koopa, or if you vote for someone else, you're getting arrested. Because I mean, like it's clearly like some kind of dictatorship.
It's great.
Oh yeah. And then Samantha Mathis plays Daisy. And literally the only other thing I know her from is being the voice of Krista in Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. But goddamn, is she cute.
Yeah, no idea who she is, but she's really cute. She's got such a cute face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She does a good job being the character of just like the wide-eyed, inquisitive... I like this. I like her because this movie was before Girl Boss had to be a thing. This movie came out before every single female character had to be like cool and ass kicking, because otherwise you get canceled for not doing feminism. But like, she's great. I love her. She's a great character, and she's not. I think that in many ways that's a flattening. That trope I think flattens women, and it's like the only thing a woman is allowed to be now is a cool badass. And it's like, no, she's competent, but she's also very curious and weird and like a little dumb, just like everyone else in this movie.
yeah, everybody's at least a little dumb.
And it's not like she's a damsel in distress, even though the plot is about going and saving her. It's like she's competent. She's just not fucking Gina Torres in Firefly. Zoe. That doesn't sound like her name now. It's coming out of my mouth. Don't cancel me. I'm not a fake Firefly fan. I'm just on the spot. But she's not like a super gun-toting badass trope like everyone else.
She's an incredibly realistic woman, in my opinion.
Yeah, she was the highlight of the film for me.
Yeah,
except for the like princess reveal where she's supposed to be dolled up. She has a cute face. She does not have like a princess face, and that scene was just like weird to me.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. We're not even talking about the movie yet.
Yeah. And then the last note, as I mentioned last week, Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo were so miserable making this movie that they pretty much spent the whole production fucking plastered. And honestly, after all that, I cannot blame them. We're 35 minutes in almost. And that is the story of how Super Mario Brothers was made. So now, let's talk about this goddamn movie. So
nice. We finished talking about what happened to the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now we can talk about what happens in the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Take a deep breath and do what you do best. Yeah. Kick off them shoes and leave those city streets. I do believe love came our way and fate did arrange for us to meet. I love when you do that hocus pocus to me. The way that you touch, you got.
So we start with the original Super Mario Brothers theme song, classic, and then Dan Castellaneta, who is Homer Simpson, is the narrator, telling us about dinosaurs with a pixel art video playing because video games.
And someone's got to try and do... Eli, you're good at doing voices. Please do this man's accent.
He talks like this. He's talking about the dinosaurs.
Yeah. You know what I want? I want someone to do the opening of Lord of the Rings when Kate Blanchett gives the long bow jump, except it's in Dan Castellaneta doing this
One
voice.
ring to rule them all. One ring to bind them.
You know, so then Sauron... so then they made 12 rings.
Yeah,
I can't do it as well as you.
They made 12 rings. So I'll just do the rest of the podcast like that. Apparently, the meteor that killed the dinosaurs actually created a parallel universe where dinosaurs evolved and ruled the land. I'm not doing that. I can't do that the whole time. Next scene, Brooklyn, 20 years ago. We see a woman running in the rain and dropping off some sort of pod thing that she puts a crystal into and leaves it on the doorstep of a convent, ostensibly a doorbell baby. Nuns open it, and it's a big fucking egg.
God, same.
What did the nerd like? Obviously, they wanted us to know like something's weird. She's a dinosaur, but like, what did the nuns do? If you were given a giant egg in like a weird futuristic baby carriage,
Yeah.
Did they sit on it? How did they hatch Daisy?
Well, I think, so
Spoilers.
yeah, we'll get to
Spoil
that.
who it is.
I think it was like ready to fucking hatch.
Maybe so.
So we then see the lady running away and getting found by Koopa, and then the scene switches back to a fucking baby hatching from the egg. And yeah, I think the implication is this egg was about to fucking pop.
Okay.
Same.
So, thanks, Maddy.
Me circa 2 years ago, literally today.
So the scene ends, and we jump ahead to Brooklyn. Now, in 1993, we find Mario taking a call for a plumbing job, while Luigi is sitting on the couch watching some paranormal TV show. I think it was called The Miraculous World. And there was a guy on there who claimed to have gone to another dimension. Foreshadowing. The brothers are broke, which isn't surprising, but considering they're broken...
that man's name was Zuki.
Considering they're broke in Brooklyn, they live in a surprisingly big apartment, honestly.
Yeah, and like it's dirty and looks like shit, but that's just because they're Italians.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is going to be a very anti-Italian pod. I'm sorry, I am going to get us canceled.
If Sam didn't get us canceled for his failure of a Firefly reference earlier, Maddy will for being anti-Italian. So we get some character establishment. Mario is a very practical man. He's very pragmatic, while Luigi is more of a dreamer. And he just wants to believe in everything. They banter for a while, and Luigi they're heading off to take a job that Mario had just been on the phone about. They're bantering. Luigi talks about some news regarding some missing women, and then they get beaten to the job by another company run by some guy named Scapelli.
Scapelli. The classic trope of like whatever your character does in the kids movie, there has to be a rival version of it.
Yeah.
So it's the rival plumbers,
and they're an evil version. It's not just
rival
rivals;
plumbers.
they're evil. Yeah.
My favorite thing about Scapelli is they're in this movie. They don't need to be literally
There's
at all.
no point of having them at all.
Yeah, they just need to be something that is referenced, and it's funny because they keep saying, it was Scapelli. But no, they are, in fact, in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we see a live news report at a Scapelli construction project that's been halted, or at least temporarily, due to the place becoming a paleontological dig site. I fucking stumbled over that word. Whatever, it's hard to say. Daisy is the one who runs the site, and she gets harassed and threatened if her crew doesn't leave soon. They're there on like a grant from a university.
Yeah, his actual thing is, it's a pity. A lot of women have gone missing around here lately.
Yeah,
this businessman literally threatens rape and or murder, which is honestly very realistic depiction of a property developer.
Yeah. Where's the lie? So she goes to call the university because what the fuck? This is fucked up. Of course she's going to go call the university. And then we see two guys who are sitting in a car talking about her and saying that Koopa's going to kill them if they blow it again. One of them had gone to get hot dogs, and he comes in the car and says, they say it's made of dog or something like that. And then they throw the buns away and just eat the meat.
It's important. Remember that they only eat the meat and they throw the buns away.
Yeah.
Remember this plot point. It's our secret trick that'll make the movie not make any... I mean, the movie doesn't make any sense. But it's this specific joke has its own rebuttal in just a few moments.
It really does.
Remember
also,
that.
I will say, I adore this movie. However, the two bumbling villains who are comic relief, even though they're trying to be scary, they're not funny at all. I think that there's
they're not.
It's the least. It's in my opinion, the only flatly unsuccessful part of the movie. With a few exceptions.
There's so many funny There's so many funny moments, but I don't think Spike and Iggy are very funny at all.
Yeah,
their names are Salt and Pepper.
Their names are what?
Salt and Pepper.
Yeah.
They are kind of Salt and Pepper levels of flat, except Salt and Pepper I end up loving them because of the incredible polygon character designs and animations, even though the humor is stupid and boring. But yeah, these guys don't even get that. They look dumb.
No.
Interesting note about Spike and Iggy. Iggy is named after one of Bowser's children. Spike is named after a random enemy in Super Mario Brothers story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite Mario enemies of all time. Maybe my actual favorite Mario enemy of all time, though.
He's really cute, yeah. He horks up spiky balls. He horks up spiky balls and throws them at you. What's not to love? So we get back to Mario and Luigi, who are driving through Brooklyn, and their car breaks down. Cut back to Daisy being chased by the two goofball goons who'd been talking about going after her. Comedy ensues, apparently, as they bang into things on the sidewalk. Whatever.
It's kind of funny, but no.
Yeah. So Daisy shows up to a payphone just as Luigi's using it to call about a job, and he is entranced by her. So much so that he decides to just hand her the phone and doesn't bother with the call he made.
Well, she clearly
also
gives her so he's like, you first. You first.
Yeah, he's being a gentleman. So he gives her a quarter so she can make the call. He goes over to Mario, and Mario tries to convince him to go talk to her. He's being a wingman. She finishes her call, comes to thank Luigi, and he offers her a ride in their broken van, and stammers for a while because he's awkward and adorable. This was the part where I was like, this movie may have kickstarted my childhood crush on Luigi. He's super fucking cute.
He's the hugest sweetheart in the entire world.
Yeah.
He has had a vampire bat latched onto his neck and sucked out every... just like you would, if you get poison, you have to, suck out the poison, right, from your own wound. They sucked out all of the toxic masculinity out of him.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's the sweetest boy in the entire world.
He really is. And honestly, I mean, Mario is a really good guy, too.
He is, too, yeah.
these guys are genuinely good people.
Like, he's gruff and like yelly, but like they are good people and they love each other, and it's why the movie is like watchable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Mario steps in to help and offers her a ride now that the radiator is working once more, because he fixed it while Luigi was bumbling around trying to talk to Daisy. So they drive her back to the dig site, and Mario continues to play wingman. In another really cute scene where Luigi says something like, "Do you eat dinner?"
I was going to use this as my favorite moment. Yeah. When he asks her out, he literally just goes, "Do you eat?" And she's like, yeah. And he goes, "Food?" And then he's like, they have a whole conversation with him just speaking in like one word at a time, but he does successfully ask her out. Good on him.
Yes, he does.
That's great.
It's super cute and funny. Like, these moments with Luigi being awkward are some of the best parts, in my opinion. Yeah. So that night, they go on a double date, Luigi and Daisy, and then Mario is with a woman named Daniela. We don't find out her name until later, but
if only they had another girl in the Mario series that they could have used. I guess they don't, though. It's a shame.
Yeah. Well,
to be fair, Super Mario 64 was not out yet, and so the only other girl name that they could use was Toadstool because they didn't have Peach yet.
Did they not name her Peach until Mario 64 came out?
She was Peach the whole time in Japan, but over here, the games they would have played, she was Toadstool.
Princess Toadstool.
A Robotnik Eggman situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha. Nowadays we could retcon her and say that she's Pauline. No, wait. Did we just say that she is Pauline? Yeah, Pauline from...
They could have used Pauline for sure.
They could have.
Wait. Odyssey didn't invent Pauline. Pauline was in Donkey Kong.
Yeah, she's Donkey Kong. Yeah.
And this girl looks like
big
Pauline,
wow moment,
but isn't.
She does kind of look like Pauline, yeah. So they talk about Daisy's work. They're talking about dinosaurs, and then the dinosaurs. Then the discussion turns to Daisy having been abandoned, which Luigi and Mario apparently were too, or at least orphaned. Daisy also talks about the precious stone that she wears around her neck, that she never takes it off. And, yeah.
That's true.
So, in the next scene, we see Spike and Iggy again. They watch Mario and Daniela leave the restaurant, and they talk about going after Daniela because she's definitely the woman they're looking for. It's just that she's in disguise. So then we see Luigi and Daisy walking home together and talking about Daisy's work. It's, again, very, very cute. Luigi is very clearly, actually interested in what she has to say and fascinated by her work. So Mario and Daniela part ways, and then we watch as Daniela gets kidnapped while she's trying to get into her apartment. Back to Daisy and Luigi, they go over to the dig site so she can show them around. She apparently feels very comfortable in the tunnels of the dig site, and they almost kiss, but then Scapelli's goons come along and flood the tunnels that they're in. So they go and get Mario to come do some plumbing. It's at this point in my childhood that I realized that the Mario Brothers in the games never do any actual plumbing.
They don't, and I love that I love that they're in the screenplay, the screenwriters, they were like, no, Mario and Luigi are plumbers. That's gonna be a part of this movie. And it continues to be throughout the movie. That is legitimately their thing. It's not just something that's you mention at the beginning of the movie and then it's gone. It's no, that's their only identity besides the personalities, right? They don't do fighting, they don't do super heroics, but they're really good plumbers.
Yeah, they're incredible plumbers. Iggy and Spike show up at the dig site.
Well, one of them's a good plumber.
Well, yeah, Luigi's an apprentice. Iggy and Spike show up at the dig site and discuss going after Daisy. Apparently, she is exactly who they've been looking for. They knock Mario and Luigi out while the two of them are working on the pipes, and then kidnap Daisy. Mario and Luigi come to and go. Oh, sorry, I stumbled over my notes. Mario and Luigi come to. They regain consciousness and go through the tunnels to try and find Daisy, at which point they find the gateway to another dimension, which Daisy is calling from. Luigi ends up snagging her necklace and then jumps into the dimensional gate after her without even batting an eye. Mario eventually does the same. This is a funny scene where he's like, he's really debating with himself about going in, and like, I thought that this was amusing.
Yeah, he clearly
That's
does
good.
not want to be doing this, but knows that he has to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he finally goes through, and we get a CGI rendered scene of him falling through the gateway. All those scenes in Chrono Trigger where we watch the gateways.
It looks
Mhm.
hysterical.
Yeah, it does. He's just like tumbling all over the place.
The way it's green screened is like you have this legitimately fantastically beautiful and cool looking CG of like all the colors, and it's 3D. You see back into the axis. He's clearly in this like crazy otherworldly dimensional breach that is like, again, it's wild. But the way they integrated his picture into that background is like the worst green screen where he just he just tumbles head over heels from top of the screen to bottom, very zoomed out. So literally you just, all this craziness is happening, and then you see him going, God, I love it.
So Mario and Luigi find themselves in a weird, grimy, underground New York covered in some sort of weird substance. And there are game references aplenty. We've got a sign for a bar called Thwomp Stompers, a place called Bullet Bills, Hammer Bros Tattoos, graffiti that says Toad and Shy Guy, or at least I think that says Shy Guy. It definitely said Shy. I'm assuming the second word was Guy. Because
sense.
what else would it be?
And like this shit looks like Blade Runner, basically.
Yeah,
like
yeah, it really
looks
does.
like
Yeah.
Blade Runner mixed with like Mad Max, if there was ever like a city in Mad Max, mixed with like obviously Max Headroom, and like it's like the grimiest, like post-apocalyptic dystopian ass.
It's like the
city you've ever seen.
the polar opposite of how the games look.
Yeah, it's so everything is metal. Everything is just on fire or sparking or just constantly.
And it's all covered in goo. Like
Yeah, it's all covered in disgusting goo.
Wait, so Super Mario Odyssey, you go to the desert, and it's very implied that you're in like Sarasarala Land or whatever from Super Mario Land, and then you go to New Donk City where you are from Donkey Kong. What if Super Mario Odyssey 2, you go to this New York City?
I would love that. I would adore
That'd be
that.
amazing. Yeah, make it happen, Nintendo, please. So Mario and Luigi see Daisy being kidnapped and try to get a cop to help, but as we all know, all cops are bad, and he does nothing. The two lean on a railing that breaks and fall into the gross substance covering the city, and then they see two tiny dinosaurs fighting over a piece of it. We focus on some people going through the street, one of whom is a woman pushing a giant egg in a baby carriage. Luigi states the obvious, and we get one of our Wizard of Oz references. I got a feeling we ain't in Brooklyn no more. And we see some creature with a weird tiny head watching them from around a corner. We then cut to Koopa talking with some woman eating what appear to be tiny eggs. He's upset.
She's hot.
She is super hot. Her name is Lena, by the way, and she is his assistant.
Bring her
He's
back,
upset.
Nintendo.
Yes, bring us Lena. Give Bowser an assistant. He's upset over the state of the world they live in and that the humans have it so much better. We finally learn that the place is full of fungus. That's what the substance is covering the city. It's some weird fungus. So he explains that they've been stuck in this dimension for 65 million years, and he needs Princess Daisy and her rock to merge the two dimensions. Unfortunately, Luigi has the rock, which is a piece of the meteorite that crashed into the Earth. And
It's,
that was
it's the frozen flame. It's literally a Lavos piece.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's I neglected to mention that earlier in the beginning narration. One of the things that is said is like, what if the meteor that crashed into the Earth didn't just kill the dinosaurs? What if it created an alternate reality where men evolved from dinosaurs?
And also the
Spoilers
reason
for
why,
Chrono Cross.
yeah, and also the reason why they want to merge the dimensions is, I think this is a little bit later, but if you they show us that like this world, instead of it being a whole planet with lots of amazing people and environments, the entire world is a giant lifeless desert except for this city. And it's because, I guess, when the dimension split, like the other dimension took all of like the good resources, the food and the water and the fertile arable soil and the, you know, just biodiversity. So like their universe just fucking sucks shit. Also, one weird thing is that unlike the real world, in this world, everyone knows about the dimensional split. It's like common knowledge. They all know that there's another dimension out there, which maybe that's why Koopa got elected into power, because he said, hey, we're gonna go and invade the other guys. Maybe
it's got to be some sort of cover-up conspiracy in our world. So Koopa calls a plumber alert, offering 2,000 gold coins for their capture. Bro, that's like 20 lives. We could die so many times.
It's specifically Koopa coins, which they changed later to coupons for a different pun.
Yeah. Great.
Why not?
Yeah.
I don't think I noticed the coupons. That's funny.
It's on their wanted poster. It says for
2,000 coupons. So
good.
Mario and Luigi wander around trying to find out where they are. A nice old lady talks to them and then pulls a fucking taser and steals the meteorite piece from Luigi.
It's like a little bit taser, a little bit like Nerf gun, a little bit like bizarre, because you hold it with two hands like the front of a flamethrower, but you poke people with the end of it and it's covered in bits and bobbles. It's
fucking weird.
Maybe
it's bizarre.
Maybe it's kind of like how guns have bayonets. Something maybe it is actually a gun, but they're simply using it as a shock baton.
Maybe so.
Maybe it has multiple. Which, although then again, I can't possibly imagine a cop having a more lethal weapon and not using that part of it. So
the cops in this movie are all armed with flamethrowers.
That's true. And also, they all have So, like, everyone in Koopa World is dressed like they're going to, like, a sex club, basically. The cops literally have, like, leather daddy spikes on them. It's extremely fucking cool. It's hysterical, and they're all just complete shitheads.
And so the flamethrowers, too, I should say, most of them shoot fireballs, which I believe is the closest reference to the fire flower that we get.
It's actually quite cool that they're a flamethrower that fires the flame in huge bursts. I don't think I've ever actually seen that in a movie. That's cool. That's an innovation. Someone should steal that for their next science fiction thing. It's just a cool gun. Because usually, a flamethrower is like a stream.
Yeah. So after this old lady gets the meteorite piece, a woman in a spiky red dress, we later learn is named Big Bertha, picks the old lady up and just fucking tosses her over a railing. Chaos ensues. Bertha takes the rock and then uses some special boots to jump away.
Of all of the things in the Super Mario Brothers world, jumping being a thing that like people can actually do, they sci-fied away in this movie. And they're like, no, people can't jump for real. You have to have boots for that.
Hold on. In Mario, Mario jumps really high. And by the time Mario RPG came out, they would start lampshading that as actually that is a special, like, they don't just jump high because it's a platformer and in platformers you jump. No. The Super Mario Brothers are blessed with the special ability to jump really high because they lampshade that in Mario RPG. But yeah, so like, hey, like literally the number one thing that you think of when you think of Mario, jumping. I I want you listeners to think of a number, and the number is how many times the Mario Brothers do a jump in this movie. And at the end of the movie, we'll see if you were right. Using these rocket boots, of course.
Every time, take a shot. So they continue wandering through the city, and they run into a guy playing guitar who is named Toad, but he neither looks nor sounds like a toad. Like
No, you see what it is the back of his head is shaved and like roundish like a toad, and he uses the very famous design that's on Toad's head of a spiral.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. I would have loved if he had been singing and Mario and Luigi came up to him and he stopped singing and he just went, like, if that could have happened, that would have made me really happy.
And then the music is like do 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 do. It's just fucking Captain Toad music.
So he's singing about how. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Before we move on from Toad, it just reminded me of. I know we have a lot to get through, and we're already at an hour, but fuck it, tangent anyways. So a couple of GDQs ago, it's probably like 30 now because life is fast. But they were playing Super Mario 3D World, and the bid war was who to use in the last world. Luigi is easiest. Mario is hardest, and so people were like, make it hard. So it's a power play. Everyone else was Luigi rules. It needs to be Luigi, and so it's like getting up to like $6,000 back and forth, and then right before they call it, fucking Toad is the person who does the donation, and they donate $10,000, and the comment just says, "It's my turn."
That's amazing. Also, I would vote for Toad. Toad's the fastest. It's a speed run.
Yeah, it's true.
He's literally the fastest one. Also, I find Toad very fun to play.
Yeah.
He's always been kind of weird to control for me. But so the cops arrest Toad and then realize Mario and Luigi are plumbers, so they arrest him too. We next see Daisy being shoved into a room by those weird tiny-headed guys seen earlier. We're all
like
missing
Flooblies from Spy Kids. They're fucked up. They're extremely upsetting to look at.
Yeah, they're very unpleasant. Like they got like teeth jutting out everywhere. Their eyes are huge. And
so there's one of them that shows up later that has a snack head, and he's cool.
Yeah.
I'm tight with the snack Goomba. I'm not tight with
snack
the
guy.
reptile Goombas.
Yeah, and we do learn later on that these are called Goombas. They look
for
nothing
some
like
reason.
Goombas. Yeah, even the Galoombas, which were called Goombas in Super Mario World, like, don't bear any resemblance because the Galoombas are like a big chestnut with tiny feet and arms, and these are guys with giant bodies and teeny tiny little heads, and it's very weird. It's a very weird choice. But Daisy's taken to a room where all the missing women, including Daniela, are being held captive. It cuts back to Mario and Luigi being brought into the police station, and we get a bit with Mario explaining his name is Mario, and Luigi explaining his name is Luigi Mario, because no one had established surnames for these guys, and I guess they just decided to go the dumbest route possible with
Wait,
it.
they invented that in this movie?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's canon now.
And honestly, brilliant. That's why they're the Mario Brothers. How can if they're the Mario Brothers, they have to have, like, that's what you would say, right?
Yeah,
like the Webbin brothers are the brothers with the last name Webbin. Like, yeah, it's great. Mario, and Luigi Mario.
Yeah. I was about to say, honestly, I love it. Also, the cop asking about their names is getting some weird message or weird massage from a woman pushing the heel of her shoe into his shoulder.
A sexy high heel lady wearing like
you don't
what do you call it when the heel is super? I guess we don't know it's a lady.
Stiletto?
I guess that's true. Stiletto, yeah. A hot I'm pretty sure there's a shot where you actually see who it is.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice it, but
I only noticed it coming from off screen.
I can see it in my head, but anyway, because there's a few different. There's like a shot reverse shot thing. Anyway, the point is, someone who's really sexy. I think it's a lady because I'm a lesbian, and want to imagine that it's a lady. It has like a sexy black stiletto, and it's just like giving
grinding
the
it
cop
into his scapula.
a weird little foot massage, as in massaging him with her foot. It's the horniest fucking thing.
Yeah, this movie is super fucking horny on main. So the Marios go through this process of defungification, essentially, and then have mugshots taken in a really funny scene where like there's a bunch of cops pointing what look to be sniper rifles at them, but it turns out they're cameras. Like, you can kind of tell they're cameras, but they've got the little like laser pointer dot.
Yeah.
And they just take a ton of pictures, and afterwards Mario goes, "Are we dead?" And then they are taken to prison, which is basically just a bunch of cages stacked on top of each other. Toad is in the cage on top of Mario and Luigi's, and he talks to them about being from another dimension, and says that the fungus is, he believes, the old king who was de-evolved and is taking revenge on the city for it.
Yeah, it's important that the jail is just a bunch of cages stacked on top of each other, because this is the Chrono Cross movie, and that's the sequel to Xenogears. Where you just had cages stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
So Koopa summons the Marios, but he introduces himself as Larry Lazard, ostensibly like a lawyer. He asks them about the meteorite piece, and then when Luigi says, "I don't have it," he attacks Luigi and then reveals that he's actually Koopa. Like, what was the whole point of the Larry Lazard thing? Who fucking knows?
I think he just has very little self-control and couldn't maintain it. Like,
yeah, that's true. He tells the cops to take Mario and Luigi to the Devo chamber, where they're going to listen to Whip It for the next 20 years. Nothing but Whip It.
Wait, they're going to go do Whippets?
They're going to do Whippets and listen to Whip It. What a time to be alive. So they take Toad as well, and we watch as Toad gets de-evolved. And it is some creepy Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Large Marge kind of shit, with his face stretching out, and like, it's freaky as fuck. And as it turns out, this is how we get our tiny-headed Goombas. And they are de-evolved dinosaur people rather than mushrooms or chestnuts like in the games.
Yeah, you know what would have been handy for this movie is a character who was on our hero's side, but was born and raised in the weirdness to kind of be their Obi-Wan to lead them through it. It's kind of a real shame that he was just roasted about a minute and a half after he was introduced.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, because the rest of the movie, they are kind of just bumbling around.
Yeah.
So the Marios shove Koopa into the de-evolution machine before they can get de-evolved, and they set him back to Jurassic. He gets out quick enough that he isn't turned back into a T-Rex entirely. Oh yeah, he explains that he is evolved from a Tyrannosaurus Rex. But there's a change in his eyes that suggests he's not fully himself anymore. Mario and Luigi escape and notice that some of the fungus offers them a wind-up bomb. They don't take it, instead opting to get the fuck out of there while Goombas shoot fireballs at them, and then steal a cop car and make a daring getaway. We also see a sign at this point for Rex, which would be a reference to one of the blue dinosaur guys who takes 2 jumps to kill in Super Mario World. They manage to escape the cops chasing them and end up in a tunnel full of fungus. The car flies out of the tunnel and off a giant cliff, but is kept from hitting the ground by the fungus holding them. We then cut to Spike and Iggy coming to alert Koopa that Mario and Luigi have escaped. Koopa orders Lena to bring Daisy to him, which she's clearly quite unhappy about. She goes and meets the captured girls, recognizes Princess Daisy, and then leads her away. This is the reveal where we find out that Daisy is a princess.
Daughter of the killed, deposed king. Is this the point where we find out what happened to the king as well?
Not just yet.
Okay.
We get there. Yeah, we'll get there soon. So we next see Spike in the de-evolution chair, but instead Koopa is actually evolving him. Oh, I should also mention, I forgot to establish this earlier, Spike and Iggy are apparently Koopa's cousins.
Sure.
Which is pretty funny.
Whatever.
Which is why it's like reverse. It's reverse nepotism. You know, it's not like I'm in power, so I'm gonna get my what do you call it? My woefully incompetent relatives in to get a job because I love them. You know, because I'm corrupt. You know, like the Trump style. It's probably more like I would feel bad. Like I feel bad, like I have an obligation to them. So I guess I'll fucking hire them, even though they suck and I hate them. Actually, now that I think about it, that's also probably like Trump. That's how he feels about Jared Kushner, for sure. Yeah. Anyway.
It instantly makes these guys smarter. You can tell because they start using bigger words, doing math, and speaking with slightly different accents.
Yeah, that makes them smarter because they use big words and still can't drive a car and accidentally drive a car over the side of the road, and they also have no idea what they're doing. It did not make them any smarter. It just increased their vocabulary.
It increased their intellect, but not their wisdom.
Yeah, it
which
means
is
just like people trying to write like what dumb people think smart people sound like, kind of thing.
Yeah,
yeah, which goes to show that shit's going to get real dark for the human race, because as we evolve further, we're just going to sound smarter and be dumber. Yeah. So
you say that like it's not my goal environment. As a person.
So we cut back to Lena and Daisy, in which Lena tells Daisy about her mother and father, with the implication that maybe the story Toad told the Marios about the fungus wasn't wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Mario and Luigi are next seen walking through the desert, and we get a nice shirtless Luigi wearing his rainbow tool belt. And
he
now
looks really good.
I want a drawing of video game Luigi wearing this outfit at a pride parade, please.
Yes.
Because that'd be amazing.
Third thing that we're going to do, we are going to get really good at Blender and Poser, and we're going to remake the Super Mario Brothers movie using its sound, but using the assets from the video game.
Yes. That would be incredible.
Or just do it all in what do you call it? Gary's mod.
Gary's mod.
Yeah. Man. Fucking Bob Hoskins' voice coming out of Cartoon Mario is one of the funniest things that I can think of. Right?
Yeah, that goes funny both ways.
Yeah.
Is Cartoon Mario sounding like Bob Hoskins, and Bob Hoskins sounding like Cartoon
Charles
Mario?
Martin. Yeah.
It's a shame that Bob Hoskins hated doing this movie and regretted it, and would never, ever, ever be involved in this sort of thing again, and also B, died. Because boy, it would be funny.
Yeah,
R.I.P. to a fucking real one.
I could see in the time of the coronavirus where we're trying all these different ways to socially distance create content. I guarantee you he would have been on fucking Jimmy Fallon revoicing Mario for Super Mario Odyssey or something. It would have been a bit by now.
Like, Charles Martinet is still alive. Can we maybe like raise money to hire him to redub the Mario Brothers movie? Because that'd be incredible.
Luigi,
Mario and Luigi, because
I follow him on Instagram. I should hit him up and be like, look, take this
we will
and just
you
dub smash it.
$100.
All right, everybody go ko-fi.com/RPG book club and donate to our Get Charles Martinet to redub the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's fun.
Yeah, this is a new incentive. It's a stretch goal. With your help, we will hire him to redub Super Mario Brothers.
Or if we want to do that way around, we will hire a genius programmer to create a Bob Hoskins deep fake.
Oh, yeah, that's also a good one. There's plenty of material you could use for that. So we cut back to Koopa asking if the Goombas are being trained with handheld de-evolution guns. Lena brings Daisy in, and we see her meeting a chained-up dinosaur that's super cute. Turns out that this is Yoshi, and I love him just as much as I love video game Yoshi, even though this Yoshi is much more realistic dinosaur-looking.
Fantastic
this Yoshi rules.
Effects on the dinosaur.
Yeah,
Did this movie come out right around the same time as Jurassic Park?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Which is
like
wild, because it looks like just as good.
It's a really good practical
Like, look,
effect.
it's only one dinosaur instead of, like, tons of dinosaurs, but, like, still, the dinosaur looks great. Yeah, same year.
Yeah. Koopa gets creepy with Daisy, calling her fresh and clean, and sticking out his weird lizard tongue at her, as he explains that she's descended from dinosaurs. He follows it up with this line, "You know what they say about little girls? They never forget the first time they're kissed by a lizard."
It's true.
They do say that.
They did.
I'm always saying this.
Yeah, I said literally all the time. Like, this is just something that, like, this is normal catchphrase for me.
I never forget, personally, the first time I was kissed by a lizard.
And then he fucking kicks poor Yoshi. Because he's a dick.
Hey, guys, I think King Koopa is the bad guy of this
I
film.
think he might be evil.
And just to be clear, he is hamming it the fuck up with every
really
single line.
I feel like while Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo were miserable, I feel like Dennis Hopper had the time of his fucking life.
Like, that's the thing. Given what I've heard about the production, you'd think he probably was hating it, but like he looks like he is having the best fucking time.
Yeah.
Because they're like, yeah, no, there's no upper limit to how much is too much ham. And he's like, oh, thank God, because most of the movies I'm in, they make me like do subtlety and acting.
Yeah. As I said earlier, Nintendo let them go buck fucking wild with this.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, there might be a reason that this was the only live-action Nintendo movie until Detective Pikachu. But
yeah, it's actually 100% the reason why we had a Detective Pikachu movie before we had a Pokemon movie. Is when the guy went and was like, I want to make a Pokemon movie. They're like, no. Look at Super Mario Brothers. Yeah. We're never doing that again. So he had to like twist it into being a Detective Pikachu movie so that they would let him actually do it.
Honestly, good move, because Detective Pikachu is fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. I like it. I will say there is one important thing to remember historically. People forget that the whole idea that video game movies always suck and are kind of like a joke in the entire film industry was not the case at this time. At the time they made this especially
this was a very early video game movie.
When they made the Street Fighter movie, those movies were highly anticipated because the video games were the hot, cool thing. So, it'd be just like, it's just like when Harry Potter books were written and they announced to make a movie of Harry Potter, everyone was like, oh shit, this is probably going to be a big blockbuster. They had not become a culturally maligned, ghettoized sort of concept.
Yeah. Yui Bowl wasn't allowed around filmmaking yet.
Yeah, so it might seem like, duh, of course it was bad, it was based on a video game, but no. Back in the day, people did not know that was going to be the case, so the movie very easily could have been a fucking classic, right? Just like the Street Fighter movie very much could have been, and frankly should have been, an all-time classic. They're like, yeah, we're going to make a fucking cool Western wuxia film where the characters have cool supernatural powers. Like, what's not awesome about that, right? Yeah, that's just interesting, right? And of course, if you ask me, this movie is good and should not have contributed to that cultural ghettoization anyway. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy. If everyone thinks that video game movies are all stupid, then you're not going to be able to get anyone except for Uwe Boll to make them. Right?
I think we've finally gotten to a point with Detective Pikachu and Sonic. And I feel like, to an extent, Warcraft, it didn't get a good score on Rotten Tomatoes, but I think Warcraft was seen pretty positively.
Warcraft fucking owns, and the worst part about Warcraft is the animatic version. The first time they put it together was like 11 hours long, because the movie was supposed to be about Orgrim and not even about I forget his name, the actual main character. So like it sets up this dude who then like in the last 20 minutes of the movie goes on a quest off screen and does his thing. And it's like I wish they would have just balls out been like, fuck yeah, intermissions are back. Here's a 6-hour Warcraft movie, because I loved all of it up until that point where it then felt rushed. But I loved the Warcraft movie. It was weird, and I'm not a Warcraft fan. I just loved the movie.
Yeah. So,
but that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, sorry,
I apologize.
We got on a tangent.
I apologize to everyone who likes to listen to these movie night episodes. It's a light refresher in between episodes. It's going to be a 2.5-hour episode because
I think this is nice.
There's
We're
a lot
letting
to talk
ourselves
about.
have fun after the complete dourness that was Chrono Cross.
yeah.
Chrono Cross doesn't even have one scene in which a goofy Italian and a bunch of dang broads slide down an enormous tube slide while upbeat pop punk music plays.
Yes.
Not even once does that happen in Chrono Cross. Huge missed opportunity.
So we next see Iggy and Spike, who are now evolved, going after the Marios in the desert. They drive off a cliff. Guess they weren't evolved enough. Mario and Luigi tie them up. Then they get more information about the meteorite piece. Turns out the only reason they could come through to the human dimension was because Scapelli blew open the doorway.
Scapelli.
We need to integrate that as an RPG book club thing. Anytime something happens, just Scapelli.
Put the clip in.
Yeah.
Remember when I used to drop in clips, guys?
LMAO. Couldn't be us at this point.
Could not.
Spike and Iggy make a deal with them to return Daisy if they get the rock. So we go back to Daisy and Yoshi briefly. He's trying to escape from his chains, and she bonds with him. It's a cute scene. It doesn't really mean anything, but it's cute. Once more with the Marios, we see them steal a garbage truck to get back into the city, and they head to the bar where Bertha works as a bouncer. Mario decides to try wooing her to get the rock, and she socks him. He goes up to her on the dance floor and charms her by asking for another punch. So apparently Mario is into some...
It's so fucking horny. It's also extremely hot. And it works. Also, I do want to mention, in case you hadn't mentioned it, in a brief one-off little scene, or one-off little shot, but it actually ends up being important later, Iggy and Spike are at the bar, and we see that now they have decided to be Antifa, basically.
Yes,
and
they're talking about overthrowing Koopa.
Yeah, they are now revolutionaries who have decided that Koopa's bad, actually, which happens completely off screen. I think the idea is that, like, I don't know, now that they're smart, they realized that Koopa is bad.
Yeah.
It's also important to know that they decide they're going to go to this bar, so they have a big dramatic outfit change where they change into colors that are head to toe all the same color. So of course Mario gets yellow and Luigi gets red because those are their colors.
Yeah.
Those have always been their colors.
So actually, Sam, earlier you said that we weren't going to do more moments, and I'm not going to, but this one I was going to say because I think it's an essential part of the film. Up until that point, Mario has been wearing green and Luigi has been wearing red this entire film. It's insane. The famous colors that they wear, Mario being green and Luigi being, like, the whole movie. And then finally they change costumes, and now Luigi is still wearing red and Mario is yellow. Yeah. And I'm like, is this an elaborate joke? Are they like, lol, what if they never wore the correct colors? Yeah. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
They're like teasing and taunting us until the point where they get to the big reveal later on.
It owns.
So Mario and Bertha dance, and Bertha is clearly like she likes this guy. All while he is attempting to steal the rock from her, but he finally manages and gets away, and she's just taken aback by it. Nina.
So this scene brings up my only like critique about the movie is there's a bunch of like high concept scenes like this that are 20 seconds long, and like this should have been like an elaborate dance number, and it was 20 seconds of Walk the Dinosaur.
It really should have lasted
This
longer.
is the best scene of the movie. The dancing is hilarious. The like Mario and Big Bertha are dancing extremely erotically. Like they are getting all up on each
he's
other.
grinding on her at one point.
They are grinding on each other. He tries to get he
motorboats her to get the thing with his teeth on.
He's going to be motorboating her because that's where the rock is. Also, in my opinion, I think she is very aware that he's trying to get it, and is literally just like, I don't care. I'm going to get me some. Because she doesn't know what the rock is or why it's important. Like, that's what I think.
She just thinks it's pretty. Like, she's wearing it.
Yeah. Like, I fully believe that if he had
real
not...
pretty.
I fully...
she's cute.
The movie doesn't make a single fat joke. It's amazing.
They do, but it's in Iggy and Spike's dumb future language, where... Because they keep trying to say that she's... corpulent. She's the corpulent individual, and Luigi
said,
being a nice boy is like,
and that's only like they're trying to identify her, not like, oh, look at her. She's like, oh, who are you talking about? Oh, the big gal, right? But the movie's filmmaking 100% portrays her as being like fucking hot, and weirdly enough, like how often do you see movies where fat characters get to be cinematically portrayed as being hot? That's awesome. It's also weird that it's in the Super Mario Brothers movie, of all the movies, because this movie shouldn't have anyone being hot or horny. But here we are. Look, I'll take the body diversity where I can get it. Horniness, I guess. Sure, if we got to do the horniness, we can. I'll take. We'll take it.
I really feel like the car chase scene earlier in the movie could have been cut down, and they could have done more Bertha and Mario, because honestly, like, I love those characters together. I want more of that. So Lena and some Goombas show up after being called about the plumbers. The lady at the front of the bar had contacted.
It was the coat check girl who checked their... She didn't even like notice anything until she checked their wrenches underneath the poster that the plumbers are wanted.
Yeah.
Wait a second, those guys are plumbers. Maybe those mammals all just look the same, you know? You can't tell them apart.
It's true.
She's a little slow on the uptake. Mario and Luigi escape, but they lose the rock, and Bertha actually comes and helps them out. She tells them about the rocket shoes, which hilariously make the sound of Mario dying.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that either.
Yeah,
that's
when
great.
the music that they plays that little doo-doo-doo, like when he's like gotten hit too many times.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. Okay, so they get out, and Luigi grabs one of the bombs that the fungus is holding. Also, throughout like half this movie, they have goofy hijinks music playing that I've only just noticed at this point.
It's bargain. It's bargain
time...
than Danny Elfman, but I actually think I like it better than Danny Elfman because I don't like Danny Elfman very much.
So we next cut to Koopa entering a white room with a throne that is covered in fungus. Seems Toad was indeed correct about the king being de-evolved so much that he turned into a disgusting monster. Koopa calls it a mushroom kingdom, so there we go, another reference to the video games.
And another reference happening on top of the reference is this is the only, it's not green, but it is Mario-shaped pipe in the thing that he's hanging out in.
Oh, nice.
It's coming out of a Mario pipe.
And the throne actually looks pretty similar to the ones in Super Mario 3.
Oh, yeah, it does.
So Mario and Luigi roll out of a dump truck that they escaped in near a big corporate building. There's a sign on it for Fishbone that has a picture of the Fishbone enemy from Super Mario World, so there's another reference. we get a pointless scene of Koopa ordering from Python Pizza before cutting back to Mario. Although, like,
It's
it comes
cute.
back up later.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it comes back up explicitly in ADR, so it never comes. So this is
really?
obviously a scene they added in, and then they needed it for like comedic relief later, and it's weird.
I will say
very
it's a
weird.
I get
really
it.
this is like the again bargain bin version of this trope, but the general trope of like character who is generally very fancy or pompous or villainous or just dramatic in some way is doing something very mundane, like specifically ordering a pizza. Hilarious.
Well, it's
Gets
like
me
how
even
Donald
though this
Trump
is like
loves
these
McDonald's.
yeah, like if it was a movie about Donald Trump that was like a mostly serious, like a more serious movie, and then there's like a scene, like a little subplot where the whole time he's eating, like that's hilarious. This is the like laziest possible execution of that joke, but I still think it's funny.
Mhm.
I also noticed.
Speaking of food, I lampshaded a thing earlier and forgot to come back to it. So in the car at the very beginning, they look at the hot dog, have no idea what the bread is, throw the bread out, eat the meat.
Oh,
and the
yeah.
first thing we see when we get into Reptile Land is people putting lizards into the
Into
bread,
a bun.
so that they know hot dog buns.
Maybe these guys are just really dumb.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're just keto.
Wait, no. You know what? Hot dogs are kind of a working class food. And if you look at this place is a total shithole, and most people are probably living in poverty. So, considering that they are direct agents of the state, maybe they just have never interacted with the fucking rabble food before, you know? So they see a hot dog and they're like,
Yeah,
"Ugh,
it's like
the
it's
fuck?"
like on the American season of the Great British Bake Off when this girl says that she made snickerdoodles, and Mary Berry, baker extraordinaire, is like, "What's a snickerdoodle? Did you make up that word
God.
yourself?" Had never
Oh my
heard
God.
of snickerdoodles, and
the
she
fuck?
literally runs the show, the Great British Bake Off. It's
That's
wild.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Fucking rich people, man. They
Yeah.
don't know the good things in life, like snickerdoodles.
Snickerdoodles.
Or
Or
hot
Dairy
Hot
Queen.
dog buns. They know hot dogs. They don't know hot dog buns.
That's true. Yeah. Well, they probably eat deconstructed hot dogs at a fancy restaurant that costs $20, and the sausage is like on a plate with like various accoutrements. Whereas like the idea that you get a hot dog for $2 from a guy on the side of the road, and it's the most delicious thing you've ever had in your goddamn life, is completely foreign to these people.
I also noticed, and this will come up later. At this point, he's ordering from a place called Python Pizza. There hasn't been any overt product placement that I've seen. I don't know if there has been yet. There is a very overt instance of it that I will mention later.
Nice.
We're back to Mario and Luigi going through the building. We get a great pro-union message from the movie by saying that the shoddy plumbing must have been a non-union job. Bless you, Comrade Luigi.
It's really good. This movie says fuck cops and go unions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they finally changed into their signature colors and hats. It only took until like 2/3 of the way through the movie, but we have the red and green plumber outfits. We've got the hats. Like Luigi wears his backwards, which I love.
Great decision. They should copy that for the future game. Seriously, the Luigi wear backwards hat. That's a great character thing for him.
Please do that. Meanwhile, Lena has brought Iggy and Spike in and tells Koopa that those two have been planning to overthrow him. Lena and Koopa get into an argument, and Lena decides she's going to take matters into her own hands. The Marios end up trapped in an elevator with an increasing number of Goombas, who just don't notice them. They're just standing behind the Goombas, and Luigi hears the elevator music and decides he's going to find a way to distract them, and so he gets them to start swaying and dancing. It's really stupid, but I find this scene hilarious.
I think it actually really shows Luigi is very intuitive, and he's like
innovative and
but I think it's more like he's got like emotional intelligence. I think that what he's realizing and what I think he can tell is that the Goombas are extremely stupid, but they actually like are good-hearted. They just do whatever anyone tells them to do.
That's true, yeah.
Like Koopa gives them a gun and says go, and they go, but really they're just stupid idiots who want love. So he decides to make them start dancing, and it's clear that like this is like they're having the time of their lives. They start dancing with each other, and it's cute, and it's like, oh, Luigi like intuited that because he's like a sensitive guy. I don't know. It's actually very layered. Even though it's also the dumbest shit in the entire goddamn world.
Yeah. So earlier, when they were in the de-evolution chamber, or evolving Salt and Pepper, one of the guys comes in and is like, oh, all the Goombas are dancing again. So it's like an epidemic thing that they love music, but Luigi didn't know that.
Yeah.
And frankly, we didn't need to know that.
I think Mario's like, how do you know that was going to work? Yeah, everyone loves to dance.
Yeah. So, and I forgot to mention this earlier too. When Toad got de-evolved, one of the Goombas came and gave him a harmonica. So we know who Toad is. He's
like, the one with the harmonica.
Yeah, he's also got a swirly pattern on his head. You can kind of tell, but yeah.
The famous Toad pattern of a swirl.
That thing that we all know and love from the character Toad.
A delicious Dairy Queen swirl.
Yes,
it is.
So Toad Goomba shows up in the chamber where Daisy and Yoshi are being kept and brings them food, which is a couple of raw steaks. Daisy says that she is a vegetarian and asks for him to bring her like some steamed vegetables. Lena shows up and dismisses the Goomba, then tries to kill Daisy because she's taking Koopa away from her. Yoshi actually does his famous Yoshi thing and lashes his tongue out to snag Lena's leg. And then she fucking stabs him while Daisy escapes. Don't stab my boy Yoshi. It's mean.
Yeah, you get so mad at her.
I fucking... she's a good character, but she stabbed my boy Yoshi. So, back to the elevator. The Goombas are just dancing away. They're just having, like, the fucking time of their lives. And another Goomba shows up outside of the elevator and orders them out. Iggy and Spike come and help Daisy escape and then bring her to meet her fungal father. There's a brief scene with more Mario and Luigi hijinks. That's all I said about that, and I don't remember what happened.
Honestly, the whole last third of this movie is like I believe they enter Koopa's HQ building like halfway through the movie, and the rest of the movie is kind of just everyone runs around a lot.
Oh, I forgot to mention this too. When they were talking about the shoddy pipe work, they also started doing some work on the pipes to try and freeze them.
Yeah, they're like, what if we they're like, since this shit's so bad already, let's like intentionally sabotage the heating system of the buildings so that
since they're all cold-blooded, so they'll all be slow.
So at this point, at every scene, everyone's like, oh my god, it's so cold. So everything becomes like so cold.
Yeah.
Which being from New York, that's fine for them.
Yeah. Yoshi then shows up at the room with Daisy and her father. Daisy removes the knife from him and pulls the chain off his neck. She finds a way to call for the Marios and tells them where to find her. Luigi still believes the fungus is trying to communicate, but Mario isn't convinced. Back with Koopa, he's talking to the police who say they're prepared to de-evolve the mammals and that the order was given by Lena on Koopa's behalf. Koopa figures out that she has the rock and orders her arrest. We return to Daisy, who introduces her dad to the Marios, and they find out that he's a real fun guy.
Good one.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes, pause for laughter. Daisy tells Mario that Daniela was also kidnapped, so he goes after her. Sorry,
I love that scene where Daisy's like, what about Daniela? And he's like, oh, crap, I was supposed to take her to Broadway today.
No, he was taking her to WrestleMania.
Yep, WrestleMania.
But she's like, no,
working-class Italians. They're not going to go to Broadway. They're going to go to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't even know that she was in this entire dimension. Like, she was kidnapped before Daisy was, and this is the first he knows of. He's like, wait, what? She's
Koopa discovers Luigi and Daisy and has his Goombas capture them. We see Lena ordering the police to let her into the tunnel that contains the meteorite so she can insert the rock to merge the dimensions. However, when she goes through, other cops capture her inside and take the rock away. We cut to Mario going to find the captured women. He tries to sneak in, but one of the ladies does not get the message about subtlety and calls out to him.
It's funny.
Yeah. He manages to deal with the Goomba, and they're relatively easy enough, at least. Like, the Goomba was just sitting there coloring a dinosaur picture. So, clearly he's very dangerous.
Clearly a reference to Color a Dinosaur for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah, it was a Mario Paint reference.
Yeah.
One of the cops approaches Koopa and brings him the rock. And two of the Goombas bring him Daisy and Luigi. We also get a brick joke about the pizza where he goes, "Where's my pizza?" Mario and the captured women escape by sliding through the frozen pipes on a mattress, and I'm getting Mario 64 vibes, even though this movie came out 3 years earlier than Mario 64.
It's a pre-reference.
Yeah. I wish that they could have had that da 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 da.
What a great piece of music.
Da, 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 da. Yeah, like they need that playing. So along with Charles Martinet redubbing this movie, we also need to insert the Mario 64 fun sliding down music. Also, gotta love the lady smoking a cigarette on this ride. It's really funny. And they've got a couple of Goombas chasing them, but Mario manages to thwart the Goombas using plumbing tricks, like putting a wrench into a socket, and it stops them. Thankfully, everyone escapes, and Daisy and Luigi are freed because of the Goombas holding them, getting knocked down by the mattress Mario and the women are riding on. Koopa shows up, and Luigi finds a bullet bill that he gives to Mario and inserts into one of the rocket boots. Mario swings away on some of the fungus to go after Koopa and causes him to drop the rock, which Lena catches before getting fried on like an electrical grid. She's fine, but she's got a cool Bride of Frankenstein look going now. Koopa still thinks that Mario has the rock, though, and fights him while Luigi and the women escape, and Lena runs off with the actual rock. Daisy tries to tell Lena not to insert the rock into the meteorite. Mario and Koopa face off, and Mario uses the bomb that Luigi picked up earlier, and it falls into a grate, into the fungus. Great.
So let me just highlight this, because this is the best part of the movie. This little bomb that could.
Yeah.
Like, it's the number one thing I remember from this movie growing up.
This bomb lasts way longer than a bomb actually lasts. Like,
it's also upon the sight of a bomb, it throws the entire city into chaos.
Oh yeah,
they are clearly aware of what bombs are. So like, literally, this city is having like they're acting the way that you would act if like there was a bomb on a subway in real life and everyone freaks out. Like it's complete chaos. They're like, oh my god! And meanwhile, he's just going.
He's just
slowly walking on. No one thinks like, I'm going to grab that thing and chuck it. No.
No, it's going on its own little incredible journey.
And its fuse has got to be like at least 5 minutes long.
Yeah. Like it's got a really short fuse, and yet it lasts forever. It's the Energizer Bunny of the bombs. Some of the women manage to escape while Lena inserts the rock into the meteorite, and she gets fucking vaporized, except for her skeleton and earrings.
It's great.
It's fucking brutal, but yeah, it's great. Apparently only Daisy can withstand the force of inserting the meteorite piece. Mario continues taunting Koopa with the quote-unquote rock, but they start disintegrating as the universes merge together. Luigi tries to remove the rock from the meteorite, but he's having some trouble with it. We cut back to New York, where the Twin Towers actually change into Koopa Tower after partially disintegrating, which is kind of wild. Yeah,
I lost my fucking mind.
It's kind of wild to watch in a post 9/11 world too, where it's like that would not fly.
No, not at all.
This point. Koopa and Mario show up, and Koopa de-evolves Scapelli into a chimp, and we get a great line from Koopa. Monkey! Koopa tries to shoot the gun at Mario, but he shields himself with a fungus, and then they all disintegrate back again into the separate universes. The bomb's still going somehow. It definitely should have blown up by now. Toad Goomba gives Daisy and Luigi a couple of guns. The bomb just keeps climbing. Toad Goomba plays the elevator music on his harmonica at that point, and all the Goombas start dancing.
Love it.
Yeah, it's fucking great. I love that this Goomba is smart enough to know to do this. And to remember that song.
To be fair, Toad was a musician.
That's true.
So maybe that's inherent to his being.
That's stuck with him. Yeah.
His literal lizard brain.
Yes. Big Bertha helps out once more by giving Luigi some rocket boots. This is only like the second or third time they've used them for jumping.
I believe it's literally the second and final time. I believe the number is 2. So, listeners, if you're thinking the number 2...
take your 2 drinks now.
Yeah. Bertha had used them earlier, so if you want to go by that logic, it's technically 3, but yeah, I mean... for the Marios, it's only 2.
Is this the first time that they use it? Okay, sorry, I jumped the gun. They do use it twice. I was counting.
Yes.
So if this isn't the first time, if this is the first time, then there might be another one that you either missed or noted.
I think I may have missed it, but yeah, this is the second time. So the bomb climbs his way back up on the grate under Koopa as the Marios try to de-evolve him, and apparently, like, this is the only point where I saw overt product placement because there are little Reebok logos on the bottoms of the Bomb's feet.
Nice.
That's so good.
That's canon.
It's such a fucking weird choice.
Reeboks.
The Bombs wear Reeboks. They don't even look like shoes. He looks like he's got little paws. But whatever. So the bomb blows up and sends the de-evolved Koopa flying, but he's not dead. He's a T-Rex now, at least until they de-evolve him further into primordial soup. Hooray for the Marios. Everybody celebrates Koopa's death, and the king returns to normal like you do in Mario 3.
Yeah.
I guess a king being transformed. I hadn't thought about that as being a Mario 3. Yeah. It is. Nice.
Mario, Luigi, and Daisy all return to the meteorite, where Daisy reopens the dimensional gate, but she decides to stay behind. She and Luigi say their goodbyes and kiss before Mario and Luigi leave. Also, Yoshi waves goodbye, and it's super cute. In the final scene, it is 3 weeks later. Daniela and Mario are making dinner, so I'm glad that their relationship worked out. They seem like they're really cute together. And Luigi is watching the miraculous world again, in which the Marios are being praised for their work in preventing the worlds from being merged. Daisy shows up suddenly and says she needs Mario and Luigi's help, because sequel bait. But there's no way they were getting a sequel after all of this.
Yep.
No way in hell.
She looks real hot here too. She's got a totally she's got a fucking Ripley from Alien look to her. She's cool.
And then there's actually a post-credits scene, which I did not know about until watching this time. After the credits, 2 Japanese men show up at Mario and Luigi's place to propose a video game based on their adventures. But wait, those aren't the Marios. It's Iggy and Spike. Should the game be named Iggy's World? The Indomitable Spike? No, it's the Super Koopa Cousins.
Love it.
Very, very, very cute.
It was hilarious.
Their only good joke.
Yeah, it was the one scene where I was like, this works.
There's a couple of actually good jokes. I would say, okay, so none of the overt jokes, I would say, are funny. I think most of them are not. But a lot of just the lines of dialogue are extremely funny. Not the parts where they're clearly trying to do a joke, right? I can't remember right now, and I did have a few examples, but we're not doing mim moms. But yeah, it's actually a relatively smart script. I'm not going to go as far as to say it subverts or transcends its genre of stupid kids 90s movie, because it absolutely does not. But I do find it to be to be a pretty a script that is full of all kinds of nice little treasures.
And like I feel like there was a lot of love put into this movie. I feel like it was definitely like a passion project for some of the people who were on it.
Certainly,
like
the
I mentioned
production
in
designers, if nobody else, who did a phenomenal job making this weird, wild world.
Yeah, like I mentioned in the last Chrono Cross episode when we were talking about doing this movie, like it so the screenwriters loved playing Mario. I didn't realize, because it was the first time, that you could just make it Mario and do what it says in the manual of a plumber. Well, I mean, technically, a plumber does go to another world and stop King Koopa. So I guess there you go.
Right, yeah.
But it's not. They just took what happened in the game and made a game accurate Koopa and a game accurate Goomba and all of that stuff. But they did like put in jumping. Why does Mario jump so high? There's fucking things for it. Oh, why can like there's even a thing about Luigi jumps and flies for a little bit with the hook and all. There's the bombs, there's the mushrooms, there's Yoshi. There's like things all throughout, even the script, not just the set dressing, where they were like, we really like playing this game. They just didn't like put the game on the screen in any way.
Yeah.
And it's like such a weird, like, it doesn't feel like a paycheck for anybody except for maybe Bob Hoskins. There's several scenes when they're doing like physical stunts where they did ADR that you could tell that Bob Hoskins was like, this is fucking stupid. Why are we doing this? And they got him to come in later and be like, let's go, Luigi.
Yeah.
But it's like nobody there was just there for a paycheck. Everyone there wanted to make a Mario movie. They just had a weird idea of what that meant.
Yeah.
And
also
it's kind of interesting.
Great at making a movie, but yeah. Well, actually, I feel like everyone in this movie who was actually making the movie was doing a good job. Like the incompetency in this movie's production was on the part of like the producers, right? Because like movie production is arranging all the parts and getting it to happen. And like from production standpoint, the movie's a disaster. But like the acting is good. It looks like the costumes and the sets are great. The music, I think, is quite solid. The note to like the overall plot is stupid dumb bullshit because of, again, that's like a really a producer issue. But from a beat to beat level, it's actually quite nice. Like, yeah, it's like the movie was mismanaged and horrendously produced, but every person involved in actually making it, once it was actually being made, once they were actually on the ground doing their job shooting the damn movie, I think everyone did a really good job, or at least tried to.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, despite the frustrations that there were with it, I mean, all the actors put their all into it. So.
Yeah, I think this movie is the rare case of a movie that is worse than the sum of its parts, because all of the parts of this movie are fantastic, and you throw it all together in the end, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of a meh Mario movie, but it's like you then can't point to any one part of it being the wrong thing.
Exactly. If you look at it, and I think that's why it really blossomed for me on my third watch, because if you're watching a movie the first time, you really are assessing it holistically. Did this movie have anything to say thematically? Did the plot compel me? The characters, right? But by the third time, you already know what happened in it, so you're just enjoying the little details. And if you're just enjoying the stuff that's happening in front of you and not thinking about like what it like, you realize that the movie is just chock full of tasty treats, right?
Yeah.
Also, I do think that, again, the core relationship between Mario and Luigi is extremely sweet and heartwarming, and like I love to see siblings with these warm, loving relationships, and it's like it's very believable and it's very cute. And I love the idea that Mario is like significantly older than Luigi. I love that idea because you don't really get that in the games. It's like, oh, Luigi's the younger brother, but in this it's like no, like there's a big enough age gap that Mario is like kind of Luigi's surrogate dad, right?
Well, I mean, Luigi even says that.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He says like, oh, he's my mom, my dad, my uncle, my cousin. Like this, it's probably at least 5, 6, 7, maybe even 10-year age gap, right? And that's a really cool direction for them to have taken with it, and they did. And it's just that's the heart of the movie, and that's why I will continue to watch this goddamn thing. Also, it's part of the dystopian world is that the cars never invented brakes. Cars don't have brakes. They just crash into things.
Oh, and also in a super clever thing, all of the cars run on electricity because there is no fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Because the dinosaurs are alive.
Yeah, they all run on like trolley style lines up above, which is why everything's being electric-y all the time. Also, again, I do want to mention, I wasn't joking earlier, in one shot when they're in the city, there is just in the background something on fire. And it's not because of the hijinks that the characters, it's not because like the characters are on fire. It's like, no, in this city, on every street, there's just dangerous sparks flying out of unprotected like electrical things that if you touch it, you're like high energy rails. And also everything is on fire and all the cars are crashing into each other constantly. It's like a child-friendly, it's like a child's imaginative parody of a dystopian world.
Yeah. It's great. This movie was a blast.
I'm so glad we watched that goddamn movie.
And like the entire time through it, like there's parallels for Fate, there's parallels for Chronopolis and Dinopolis, there's parallels for
it's called Dinopolis, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there's like this is Chrono Cross the movie featuring Mario and Luigi from the Super Mario Brothers franchise.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, except we took all the depression and replaced it with fungus.
With Spike and Iggy.
And horniness.
Oh my god,
horny.
So much horny.
Oh man. It's great though. I
this is Chrono Cross the movie if Harley was allowed to narrate. It's that horny.
Yes. Oh god, now I'm imagining Harley, instead of having her French accent, if she had like the fucking Italian ass Brooklyn accent.
Yeah.
All right, project number 5 is to go into the accent generator and generate her. Hey, I'm walking here.
Hey, Legs, we gotta find this guy Soich. Sorry, I'm not good at accents.
Me neither. But you know what is good? Lunar the Silver Star. And we will be playing it next week. We will have a guest for this series. I'm real excited because I'm a gigantic fan of his. I'm going to nerd out, like, hearing him answer questions that I ask him. It's going to be fucking wild. But can't wait. I have played a little bit of next week's already, and this already feels like, gameplay wise, like story wise, it's about like basic so far. It has a lot of like polish, which I really like, but it's kind of I want to be a hero, and good thing because I'm part of the prophecy or whatever. But like gameplay wise, it's fucking tight, and good. I love it, and I'm really good.
Excited about the fact that we have enough clout to get guest stars.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I will say the version of the game I'm playing, Sam's as well, but I played about 10 minutes of the game just as a test. I am going to be streaming it, by the way, so feel free to follow me on Twitch if you want to watch me stream this game. The graphics are incredible. If you liked the version of East that I played, East 1 and 2 for the TurboGrafx CD, this is the same kind of shit. It's a very similar vibe. I am in love with this game's graphics, even though I've literally played it for 10 minutes. It's going to be really great. Sam, do you know when we're stopping?
So we are stopping before we enter the town of Saith. So save on the world map. But more than likely, if you're like me, when I was watching all of the Let's Plays to pick this, you watch until you come into a city and you're like, wait, have I gone too far? And you talk to the guy out front and he's like, welcome to the town of Saith. And you're like, shit, I wasn't supposed to do any of that. Walk outside and save.
That makes sense. Isn't it great that the towns always have NPCs right in the front telling you what city it is? Man, we should have that in real life.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Welcome to the town of Oakland.
Yeah, it'll be a real small first thing, but Lunar has a whole lot of baggage with it. It has had a journey to throughout the histories. So much like spending an hour talking about the history of Super Mario Brothers tonight, we'll probably spend a good chunk talking about the history of Lunar next week. So it's good that it's a tiny little baby chunk. But yeah, super excited for that. If you like what you heard tonight, good on you. But there's more than that where that came from, I'm sure. You can follow us on the web at www.rpgbook.club. Has links to all of our episodes, all of our socials, including our Discord, where we have a new friend, and that new friend's name is Harls. Welcome to the Discord, Harls. Literally showed up and just started talking. I didn't have to like pull it out of him like I normally have to. He just was like, hey, what's up? I love you guys. Rogue Galaxy is great. You guys are great because you played Rogue Galaxy and all that stuff. But which, as an aside on our asides of our 2-hour episode about asides, the reason I like playing games like Rogue Galaxy that like nobody has fucking played is it's somebody's favorite game that they replay all the time, and they'll be on Spotify like, you know what? I want to just look up Rogue Galaxy, and they try to look up the soundtrack or something, and they happen upon us because we're the only people that cover it, and that shit's cool. And
basically,
it worked.
we would have no listeners if basically we need to thank Spotify for not having game soundtracks on Spotify. Because if they did, people would just listen to the game soundtracks and not keep looking and find our podcasts.
Absolutely. But yeah, our Discord is great. Come and hang out and talk with us. If you want to just support us and help us pay for games, because games are expensive, you can hit us up on our Ko-Fi at ko-fi.com/rpgbookclub. I'm thinking about maybe moving our Spreadshirt shop. By the way, did you remember we had a Spreadshirt shop?
No.
I'm thinking about moving that over to Ko-Fi, because Ko-Fi has its own shop system, but I haven't looked into all of that because Spreadshirt drop ships, and I don't want to buy a bunch of shirts to keep in my tiny house. So I'll see about it, but expect more things to be happening on the Ko-Fi soon, because Ko-Fi is stepping it up and they're being a really good destination point. So I should use it. But other than that, we've gone on way long enough for RPG Book Club movie nights. I have been Sam Allman.
I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I am Maddy Grace Webben, and just as one more reminder, if you want to hear me do Lunar again, I will be starting it from scratch, so you won't miss any, on twitch.tv/Spiffle, SPIFFL. I don't normally shill that, but I thought I should do it this time.
Yeah. But bye everybody.
Bye.
Toodaloo.
Gucci, to, Gochi,
Yes.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Awesome.
My body is ready.
my body is Reggie.
My body is ready.